Thank you. I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, can you give a round of applause to all the comics that have performed so far tonight? Because whether you're here to support me or anybody else, we really appreciate it. So I feel comfortable in this room. So I want to get off my chest right off the bat. I'm kind of fascinated with porn. Like, I really am. And the reason being is that when you think about it, porn is the only billion-dollar industry that nobody ever talks about. People talk about the other billion-dollar industries all the time, like movies and sports, like movies, like, hey, did you see that new Blade Runner? Oh, it was good, but it was long. Or sports, is a Canadian team finally going to get into the Stanley Cup and win it? But no one talks about porn. No one's going to work on Monday morning saying, hey, do you see that new Kendra Lust movie? Man, she can suck a mean dick. No one's doing that. No one's doing that. When I was 13 years old, I thought that oral sex was when you just talked about it. And I thought that because my friend Matt told me and he knew everything. But it wasn't like the sex that we've come accustomed to as adults. It was things that a 13-year-old would say, like, oh my God, did you see Joanna today? Yeah, her top is so tight, I can totally see her boobs. I know what I would do, me too. Motorboat. Like, that's what we thought it was. It wasn't until like years later when I was miraculously started dating a girl that I realized it was different. Because Matt and I would have those conversations all the time. We'd have them at my house, his house, on the way to school, all the time. So miraculously, I started dating a girl and she's like, Keith, have you ever had a blowjob before? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the term. She's like, oral sex. Psh, yeah, I've had tons of oral sex. Really? With who? Matt? You and Matt have had oral sex? No. Matt and I have had tons of oral sex. Where? His place, my place, on the way to school, tons of different places. Just you and Matt? Yeah. Oh no, no. Sometimes with Danny too. Danny too? Yeah. Sometimes the three of us. But Danny doesn't like to do it when Matt's around because he says Matt gets too nasty. So a lot of people have different things on their bucket list. I'm doing one of those things right now. Thank you for being here to support it. There are people out there on their bucket list is, for some women, it's sleeping with a black man. This is true. I met one of those women years ago. I was on a date with her and she says to me, she's like, well, what are you looking for in a woman? And I said, like somebody who's close with her family, spontaneous, outgoing, that sort of thing. I'm like, well, what are you looking for? She just looked at me, she's like, black. I'm like, all right, so let's dive into this. And I'm like, well, what is it about black men that you're attracted to? She's like, just everything you guys have overcome. It's such a turn on. I'm like, everything we've overcome. And I'm like, slavery's a turn on for you? And she's like, yeah, is that bad? No, it's not good. And then she goes on to tell me that she's into role playing. Like, I'm into role playing as much as the next guy. Well, unless the next guy's Harvey Weinstein. But I'm too soon. I'm sorry, too soon. I'm into role playing as much as the next guy, but I'm like, what sort of freaky deaky role playing does a slave-loving white woman have in store for me? Like, one morning I wake up completely naked in the field, and her and her toothless brother's gonna come hunt me? Run! No thanks. No thanks. Thanks a lot, eHarmony. No, out. So earlier tonight, you met Matt Champ, who was at the beginning of the show. That's not oral sex, Matt. That's comedian Matt. Don't get the two mixed up. And I messaged him on Sunday, and I'm like, hey, you want to get together on Monday? He's like, I can't. He's like, I have a ghost hunter coming over to my house. This is a true story. He's like, I've got a ghost hunter coming over to my house. I'm like, well, what's going on? He's like, well, I just moved into this house. It's an older house. He said that, 4 different people have died in this house before. He's like, I'm the only person in the house. He's like, sometimes I hear, footsteps going up and down the stairs. He's like, sometimes I hear doors opening and closing. So I'm having a ghost hunter come and check it out. And I just laughed. I'm like, white people. I'm like, that is so funny to me. Because black people don't mess around with that. And I'm like, listen, I understand he wants to get together, have a seance, and that's just one of the subtle differences between black people and white people when it comes to paranormal activity. White people want to investigate. Black people move. Like, if you come home and you're like, hey, Keith, I think the house is haunted. It's downstairs. Be like, Keith, where are you? I'm packing. You coming? I'm moving back in with my daddy. Let's go. So, I haven't gone to a strip club in a long time. I don't think things have changed. But I think I think the goal for a lot of people would be to date somebody with like stripper-like tendencies, you know? Ladies, you saw Magic Mike, you're like, that would be awesome. And guys, of course, you know, you want some girl named, you know, Pizzazz or whatever ready. But in all honesty, I think there's nothing sexier than your partner being sexy for you. But when you're in a new relationship and you're like, you know, you got that whole new vibe going on, I think it would be great. But then after a while, when you've been in a relationship for a long time, I don't know if you're gonna get that hot lap dance from your partner. Like you come home and it's like, okay, baby, don't forget, we got your parents coming over this weekend, so we gotta tidy the house. Sweetie, we're supposed to be a team. We didn't do the dishes this morning. Like that's not the kind of lap dance that we want. You guys are a good crowd. Apple is coming out with a new iPhone. People who know me know I got to talk about Apple. I'm looking forward to this iPhone. You know why? Because I think it's going to cut down on distracted driving. The new iPhone is coming with facial recognition. So usually, you know, you do your fingerprint sensor, you're in the phone, and you're good. You can't be driving along and being like, looking at your phone, trying to get into it. That's not going to work. That joke's gonna set up for something later, don't worry, hold on to that one. You know, somebody said to me, they said, you know, Keith, doing stand-up comedy is gonna be the scariest thing that you ever do in your life. And I say no, because I've done the scariest thing in my life. It was the first time I was ever naked in front of a woman. I remember like it was yesterday. She was a little older. I thought we had a little flirtatious thing going on. I said, to hell with it, I'm gonna make my move. So I went into her office one day, I closed the door, and I dropped my clothes, and I hit it with a little something I like to call the shoulders, and I'm like, do you like what you see? I'll never forget what she said to me. Keith, for the love of God, I'm your third grade teacher, put your clothes back on. We are coming out of, I guess, summer wedding season into fall wedding season. I love other people's weddings. But don't get it twisted, there's two different types of wedding. There's the good type of wedding, and then there's the other type of wedding. Not one, not three, not five, two types of weddings. The first type of wedding is the wedding you go to and the couple really loves each other. It doesn't matter if it's a big wedding or a small wedding. It's a couple that just loves each other and they care about each other and you can just feel that energy and they just make you believe in the institution of marriage. Beautiful. But then there's the other type of wedding. The wedding where you go to because maybe you just want to put on a new dress or you just want to put on a new suit because you know they ain't going to be making it. People are snickering, brides coming down the aisle, and people are like, girl, why are you wearing white? We know what you did in Mexico. You were sucking some mean dick. No, don't want to go to that wedding. And listen, I'm not trying to like crap on people, but what is up with married people and rings? So let's start with women. A lot of married women, first of all, let's talk about engaged. They get engaged. It's like, oh my God, I'm engaged. I got something to show you. Notice anything different about me? And they're showing their ring and they're excited. But then something happens along the line when women stop wearing their wedding rings. And I don't understand it. And there's always an excuse. It's like, I don't wear my ring when my husband and I are doing the dishes. I don't wear my ring when I'm going to the gym. I don't wear my ring when I'm watching an Idris Elba movie. Idris can't see me in my ring. And then you have men. Now men, listen, men used to not wear their rings, but two things happened. The first thing that happened was women were getting tired of being hit on by men with like weird tan lines on their fingers. And then the second thing was there's a lot of freaky deaky women who are into married men. I got a friend of mine, I'm not gonna say if he is or he isn't in the room, hey Emeka, and he is happily married, loves his wife, has 2 kids, gets hit on all the time. Goes out, travels, whatever, gets hit on all the time. We'll have a guy's night, he'll take his ring off. I'm like, where's your ring? He's like, I don't want to be bothered tonight. I just want a nice, quiet night out with the guys. And listen, again, people have their different reasons, but it's kind of like going on Facebook and having your status as it's complicated. It's like, yeah, I'm in a relationship, but it's negotiable. So, I think, and I'll end with this, I think it's very difficult, 2017, for people to meet. People are afraid of rejection. Oh, if I go and I talk to so-and-so, what are they gonna say? Who cares what they say? At the end of the day, you're still an awesome person. So, but this is it. We need something that you need to do. So, and I'm not crapping on online dating or anything like that, but I'm gonna introduce something to this crowd today, and I hope it takes off. You guys ready?
Yeah.
I call it HAAY. What does that spell? Hey, exactly. So this is what I want you to do. Okay, this sounds crazy, but listen, we tried it your way, let's try it my way. It could work. If you see somebody that you're attracted to, you just walk up to them and be like, hey. And if they're attracted to you, then they hit you back with a, hey. Thank you. And if they're not interested, maybe hit them with a hey, and they'd be like, And that's okay. That's okay, because at least you don't have to go and profess your undying love. You just, you've taken a chance. I'm excited. Give it a try. Months from now, I want to see people doing it. I want to see people at the club that go up and be like, hey, and then they're like, hey. It's so good meeting you. Quick, let me get your number. Let me put it in my phone. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Keith Whittier, everybody!